and we're flying out to Iowa. And for anybody that doesn't know, Iowa has the Dual Molds facility, and then we're gonna go out and fish on the Mississippi River. So I'm super pumped to get on my plane, fly out to Denver, then we're connecting and ending up in Des Moines, getting picked up by Drake from Dual Molds, and then we're gonna get up a hotel tonight, and then we're gonna head out to the lake tomorrow and start fishing. We got a weekend of fishing going, and then we're gonna check out the Dual Molds facility on Sunday. I'm also gonna talk to you guys about Dual Molds themselves, why I decided to start making my own tackle, how you can really mix and match and pick all the best components to make stuff that you cannot buy in stores. So we're gonna go into that story, and then basically why I think you guys should start making your own tackle, because one, it can be cheaper, two, you can make stuff with better components that you can buy in a store, and you get to customize everything. So we're gonna talk about all of that in today's video. So as a little bit of a background onto why I started making my own tackle, it goes way back. So I started off with getting an open pore mold to make some plastic worms and stuff like that. And then I decided that I wanted to start making some jigs. And then I decided I wanted to make some sinkers, all to try to save some money. That's why I decided to get into it. And the most successful thing that I did was started to make drop shot weights. That was one of the first molds I ever got. And that is an awesome way to get into the tackle making hobby and to save a lot of money, because you're gonna go through a ton of those types of weights. You get them snagged on rocks, you get them snagged on just about everything. Getting into making some of that terminal stuff really keeps the cost down and really makes it accessible for anybody to get into the tackle making hobby. Guys, well, it's time to go board the plane. I'll see you guys in Denver, and we're gonna meet up with a special guest that I'm sure a lot of you guys that are into the tackle making videos have watched some of his videos before, so stay tuned. Got a special guest coming up when we land in Denver. One of the other reasons that I got into making tackle myself was specifically because I like doing it. It's fun. You have this idea of what you want to make, whether it's a chatterbait, whether it's a jig or a worm or whatever, it doesn't really matter. But you have this idea and you can see it through to the actual concept coming to life in the bait, and then ultimately being able to catch a fish on it. Sometimes there's success and sometimes there's failure, but ultimately those successes help you do a lot of other things that I'm gonna go into here in a minute. So the special guest that we have in today's video is that guy Skimpy. If you guys have watched tackle making videos on YouTube, I know you've come across some of his videos, because a long time ago when I was researching these tackle making videos, his videos came up and I watched them as well. So what up, we got Skimpy right here. You guys gotta check out his channel. It's That Guy Skimpy on YouTube. And we're gonna ask Skimpy why he got into making tackle.
I basically got into making tackle because I got tired of losing it and buying new ones. So I figured, started with Senkos and jigs. So I started going through a lot of Senkos when I first started, and then bought a Senko mold, going through a lot of jigs. So I bought a jig mold, and that's basically how I started.
So if you want to get into tackle making, you need to buy any new molds or anything like that, make sure to use my affiliate link. I'm going to link it down in the description. It's the only way they know that I sent you. So your support by using that link to get your tackle making stuff really helps me out, helps the channel out. Well, we finally landed. We are now in Des Moines, Iowa. We're gonna get picked up by Drake from Dual Molds. We're just waiting to get our bags claimed right now. But one of the things that I wanna mention is when you make your own tackle, you're gonna have successes and you're gonna have failures. But those successes and those failures always teach you something that worked about that bait in particular. So for example, if you put the wrong hook in there, it's not sharp enough, you know that you can buy a new brand hook. Whereas you're gonna have to find a whole new jig when you buy a jig from a store and you end up not liking it. Or you're gonna be able to play with blade sizes when it comes to a spinnerbait and get that dialed in. Or you're trying to use a chatterbait and you wanna make it yourself and you're gonna use a split ring, or you're gonna have the actual blade connected to the hook eye. You can do a lot of trial and error, have successes, have failures, but when you make that stuff yourself, you're learning specifically what makes that bait good. It's the components in the bait, it's the color, it's the skirt material, it's the blade size. There's so many different things that go into making a bait in particular, but when you make it yourself, you know exactly what's going into that bait. You can make it as high quality as you want. You have the control over it, and you're gonna know exactly what goes into it to make it work for you. So another thing that happens when you're making your own tackle is you're gonna be doing research, which is exactly what I did for my first set of spinnerbaits that I ever made. As I went on forums, I went on YouTube, I started looking into what makes a good spinnerbait. And a lot of that boils down to vibration, and blade size matters, and wire size matters, and components matter, swivels, colors, all that stuff goes into it. So you end up learning specifically what goes into making a good spinnerbait or a good jig or a good chatterbait, whatever. You're gonna do that research, and that's dialing you into what you need to look for when you're buying other baits from other companies. So research is also key, and it really helped me specifically with those first spinnerbaits that I made. Well guys, that is how you get picked up from the airport with the boat behind the truck. Thankfully the flight wasn't too bad. I want to be able to customize my stuff. I want to be able to choose exactly what components go into that jig or that spinnerbait, what swivels I want to use, what size blades, what color blades. I want to be able to customize everything because I know exactly what I want out of that bait, and when I make it myself, I can make it exactly how I want. All right, so we were just in the truck for probably like 2 hours, and we just got to the Dual Molds facility, but we're not gonna do a tour tonight. We're gonna do that later on, probably on Sunday. We got Brennan, Drake, and Skimpy all here. Brennan and Drake work at Dual Molds, and then you guys know Skimpy from his videos. When I was mentioning the lure customization stuff before, a couple examples that I can give you guys are the spinner baits that I make and some of the wobble heads that I make. Basically, I use the Ultra Minnow spinner jig mold to make my spinner baits, and I dialed in the wire size. I dialed in the blade size that I like on there. I got the hook size that I like, and then I also added in a wire keeper. Pretty simple customization on that mold. And then also with the wobble head, I worked with my buddy Justin, and we dialed in exactly how we want that. Everything comes together, and you start getting things that maximize your hookup ratios and maximize the amount of fish that you're gonna be able to put in the boat. So I've literally eaten a bagel today and 2 snack packs and a piece of pizza all day long. Traveled all day. It's time to go eat some dinner. One of the other reasons that I make my own tackle is because it saves me money. I can make a football jig that nobody else has on the market for about $1.50. That stuff starts adding up over time. You can make spinner baits cheaper, you can make jig heads cheaper, you can make drop shots cheaper. There's so many different things that you can make that are cheaper once you get into tackle making. Now, obviously there are some startup costs involved, but once you get that stuff going, it is cheaper to make your own tackle. And you're also gonna be able to put those baits into places that you may not put them if you had to risk losing a lure that you bought. If you're not having to worry about losing a jig every time it's in the rocks that costs you $5, you might put that jig in a place that you would normally fish, which is gonna help you catch more fish in the long run. And guys, if you wanna know some of the stuff that it takes to get into the tackle making process, the kind of stuff that you need to start making soft plastics in particular, hit the link that's on the video right now, and I will see you guys in the next video out there on the Mississippi River. See you guys.